All right. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. So we will get started with a moment of silence today, and then we'll move to Pledge of Allegiance before we move to roll call. So if you would join me in a moment of silence, I'd appreciate that. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, next we'll have roll call.
Commissioner Knight,
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
Commissioner Moody,
Present.
Commissioner Purdue,
Present.
Commissioner Sassi,
Present.
Commissioner O'Connor,
Present.
Mayor Bliss.
Yes.
We do.
All right, and next I'd like to welcome up our translators. So if you are here today and you need assistance with translation services, please let us know, and we'll provide support for that. Hi, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. We are pleased to provide Spanish interpretation services this afternoon. This includes interpretation during the meeting and for those who want to provide public comment. Buenas tardes, estamos complacidos de proveer servicios de interpretación en español esta tarde. Esto incluye interpretación durante la reunión y para aquellos que quieran proveer comentario público.
Thank you. All right, next that will take us to our first opportunity for public comment. So if you haven't been to our meetings before, I'll just kind of walk you through our agenda. We have 2 opportunities for public comment today, in addition to a scheduled public hearing. So our public hearing today is related to an industrial facilities exemption certificate related to the project on Century Avenue for Blackmar. So if you are here to speak on that, I'm going to ask you to stay put until I open up that scheduled public hearing. The first opportunity for public comment is specific to agenda items. So this morning we've been meeting in a number of standing committee meetings where we discussed and voted on a number of items. So the first opportunity for public comment is really specific to those. We ask that you share your name, the city that you live in, and for this one we ask you to be explicit about what item you're referring to. And then at the end of the meeting we'll open it up for public comment on any other items. I'd like to remind everyone that this is a formal city commission meeting with city business to be had. So we do ask that you respect the space and follow the meeting procedures that we have there posted on the wall. So for the public comment, give me 1 second, DeAndre. For public comment, as I said, we ask you to come to the podium, share your name, the city that you live in. You'll be given up to 3 minutes to speak. There's a timer right here you can follow. And then to make sure that people who speak feel safe with whatever they want to share, regardless of whether we agree with their comments or not, we ask that you refrain from clapping or cheering or booing, using profanity, vulgar language, or name calling. We also ask that you direct all your comments to this body and not to anyone in the audience. And then just a reminder, public comment isn't an opportunity for us to ask questions. It's an opportunity for us to hear your concerns and your comments. So if you have questions, you won't get an answer from anyone up here, but we do have staff available who can follow up afterwards. So with that, I'll open up the first public comment on agenda items.
How you doing, everybody? My name is DeAndre Jones, and I got some fire dance moves. It's crazy. But no, I wanted to talk about the investment plan for the homes, the agenda item earlier.
Oh, yeah, we're not voting on that, but we just made it available to the public, and it starts a 30-day comment period.
All right, so I would like to comment on that. I do like the city is allocating funds to the neighborhood associations, to the neighborhood organizations, to the nonprofits and community organizations that does work around affordable housing, around community safety, around infrastructure. But I would like to say a couple things. I would like for the city to explore the option of 3D printing homes. I've attended an online event. I have a $2,500 credit towards a 3D printer. I've actually been connected with Housing Next, Housing Kent. I just did an interview today for Housing Kent. They gave me a $200 gift card. I did not expect that. That was crazy. But I got to tell my story about affordable housing, how I care about housing, how I give food to the people that don't have a house, and I'll be at the master plan event in the first ward. So I'll be looking forward. If you guys have the food, I'll drive from the first ward downtown to give the food to the people that don't don't have a house, I will do that. But I would like to speak to my city commissioners, city manager, Mayor Bliss, anybody about 3D printing houses. I have the connections for this. I know that we need 34,699 units for affordable housing in Kent County, and we also are the 5th worst county. We are 144 out of 149 counties for affordable housing. So we really need to find creative, innovative ways to create a more affordable housing for our community. Kent County's Grand Rapids is a part of Kent County, and I would love for us to be able to be one of the first cities in the state around the nation to be able to 3D print homes. We can put solar panels on these homes. We can put water filters on these homes. We can power these homes with geothermal energy. I have all of the resources and connections. I've talked to a couple commissioners about this. I will be getting you guys info. I'll send you the entire handbook. I actually have the handbook for the 3D printing company. It's like $600,000 to buy the printer. But if you guys actually seen the ROI and what we actually can do for our community and be one of the innovative communities across the nation to actually 3D print homes, they create luxury homes. Do you know they create 3D print homes and they have pools too? I could imagine staying in a 3D house or printing a 3D house for somebody that doesn't have a house and giving them a pool too with solar panels and geothermal energy and connecting them to resources to truly be innovative and create equitable, affordable housing, true, equitable, affordable housing that's innovative. Please, I will send you all this handbook. I look forward to connecting. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, others who wish to be heard on agenda items?
I know a cool place we could all learn about 3D printing.
You want to tell us about that?
Not my bicycle today. Lucas First Ward, I want to speak to item A. I took the opportunity bright and early this morning to sit in on that committee on appointments at 8 a.m. or like 8:05-ish. It was fascinating insight into the process. It was nice to see how the citizens that are willing to serve, entertained by the committee, and all the positions are discussed. I want to offer my congratulations on those on the agenda today who are getting confirmed for those positions. The reason I chose to attend was to further walk the talk and demonstrate my interest in serving myself. As indicated last meeting in my remarks, I've applied for a handful of options and appeal to this body and those with a hand in those selections to rise to that Lincoln example and include rivaling philosophies. My urging for this has been public, and I want to be clear to the community that those of us that are willing to challenge the status quo are also making every effort to engage in every part. It keeps us honest to address that here publicly on both sides of the podium. I've applied with express interest in community relations, where the website shows vacancy, but the document didn't. West Side Improvement, where the mayor could put my love of my side of town to work with her appointment. Downtown Improvement, where you have weak First Ward representation. But if you really want to embrace the need for balance and include dissenting voices who will provide necessary scrutiny, you'll consider me in the civilian appeals or public safety space, where the mayor and both my ward commissioners, as well as Commissioner Perdue, have available appointments. I urge you to buck the expectations of myself and other members of our very diverse progressive population and consider this. When it comes to counterbalancing police unions, this kid right here, raised in a union household, is a good voice to add. Maybe I'm your guy. My organizational, civic, and professional qualifications, passion, drive, revealing curiosity, willingness to ask hard questions, and stubborn sense of hope have made it pretty clear, and I would really appreciate your consideration.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Others who wish to be heard? All right, I'm going to close that public comment period, and that will take us to our next item on our agenda, and that's the approval of our minutes from our last meeting. Commissioners, can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Support.
All right, moved and supported. Commissioners, any questions or comments from our February 21st meeting? All right, seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, it carries. All right, next that will take us to petitions and communications.
We have a few.
We do.
First one is a communication received from Julie Rietberg, Greater Regional Alliance of Realtors CEO, concerning the proposed property maintenance code amendment.
That's received and filed.
Communication received from Dek Andrzejczyk with suggested changes to the property maintenance code.
That's received and filed.
Communications received from Kyle Nauman regarding the proposed changes to the property maintenance code.
That's received and filed.
Communication from Daryl Vance regarding the resignation from the Community Relations Commission.
That's referred to our Committee on Appointments.
Communication from Micah Perkins regarding the resignation from the Board of Zoning Appeals.
That is referred to our Committee on Appointments.
Communication from Stacy Beer regarding the resignation from the Urban Forestry Committee.
That's referred to our Committee on Appointments.
Communication received from Scott Atchison expressing opposition to the Grand River Restoration Program or projects.
That's received and filed.
Communication from Aaron Yunker regarding their resignation from the Community Relations Commission.
That is referred to our Committee on Appointments.
Communication received from Dennis B. Murphy regarding No Mo May.
That is received and filed.
Communication received from Mark Baker, president of Soft Lights Foundation, expressing opposition to the LED streetlight conversion project.
That's received and filed.
And then these last two were just added today. Communication received from Andrew Shear, McShane and Bowie regarding 2160 Celebration Drive Northeast.
That's received and filed.
And then communications, there were two of them received regarding the Genesis project on Leonard.
Thank you, and that's also received and filed. All right, next that will take us to our reports of city officers.
The first one is the Comptroller's report for the period of February 8, 2023 through February 28, 2023 in the amount of $38,725,857.28.
That's received and filed.
And the Treasurer's report for the period of February 8, 2023 through February 28, 2023.
And that is also received and filed. All right, next that will take us to our consent agenda. So our consent agenda are items that we voted on earlier today in one of our standing committee meetings where there was a unanimous vote. So today, with one voice vote, we'll adopt those items. Commissioners, can I get a motion for the consent agenda?
So moved.
Support. Thank you. Moved and supported. Commissioners, any questions or comments? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It carries. All right, next that will take us to ordinances to be adopted, and we have one ordinance before us today.
It is a ordinance, it's a consideration of a major amendment to the Celebration Village SD-PRD Special District Plan Redevelopment District to facilitate development of 2160 Celebration Drive Northeast.
All right, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Support. Moved and supported. Commissioner Moody, you want to tell us about this item?
Yes, ma'am, Madam Mayor. On the 21st of February of this year, the City Commission established on this date, the 14th of this year, as a date to consider a major amendment to the Celebration Village Plan Redevelopment District. This has been previously approved, which is a mixed-use commercial center located at northeast corner of Knapp and East Beltline Avenue. The amendment is requested to facilitate the construction of a new 5-story mixed-use building consisting of a ground floor commercial use, covered parking, and between the units dwelling, which is approximately 232 to 250 dwelling units.
Great, thank you. Commissioners, any questions or comments? I know our second ward commissioners are aware of this project. Yeah, go ahead, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mayor. And colleagues, you've received some communications, one that there was an add-on and one that was previously shared, I think, maybe with the Community Development Department. This has been reviewed. There was a parking study that was done back in January. I think Ms. Turkelson, or that was included when they went forward to the Planning Commission. You know, I intend to vote for this, to vote yes to this, so I just wanted to share that. I think sometimes we get communications, we might not have been following the planning process, might not have been having some of the conversation with those that were involved. And I think it will, sounds like a good project, hopefully encourage more options out there. There's been some restaurants that have not continued on out there, some additional retail, and, you know, I know Lokes has a very large parking lot out there as well, and the developer has been connected with them.
Yeah.
Just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. I know I watched the Planning Commission meeting related to this project, and there was some discussion about parking. There's a lot of private parking out there, and some agreements between the different property owners. Any other questions or comments? All right. This is a roll call vote today.
Commissioner Moody,
Yes.
Commissioner Sassi,
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
Commissioner Purdue,
Yes.
Commissioner Knight,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Connor,
Yes.
Mayor Bliss.
Yes, it carries. Next, that will take us to scheduled public hearings because we don't have any city commission resolutions today. So we have one scheduled public hearing. This is a public hearing to consider an amendment to Industrial Facilities Exemption Certificate 2021 pursuant to PA 198 of 1974 for Blackmer, located at 1809 Century Avenue Southwest. So what we'll do today is we'll start with Mr. Klooster to tell us about this project, and then we'll see if there are any guests who would like to speak. I'll open it up to see if there's questions from my colleagues here on the commission, and then if you are here to be heard on this item, I'll open up the floor after that. Mr. Klooster?
Good afternoon. So as was mentioned, this is a request to consider an amendment to an application that was approved by the City Commission back in 2021 for an expansion project that is currently being undertaken by Blackmer over on Century Avenue on the southwest side of town. This amendment was approved for a project that at the time was estimated to cost $7.4 million and was to be completed by now. The project did experience about a 20-month delay, and the cost is now estimated at $11.6 million. And so as with anybody who is building things over the past couple of years, there have been pretty significant challenges. However, they have stuck with the project. It involves the demolition of a foundry that was no longer in use, that was 48,000 square feet, and construction of a 55,000 square foot manufacturing space to expand their operations there. Blackmer did, at the time of application, employ 236 people at that shop, and they plan to create 54 new jobs that are well-paying jobs, over $30 an hour, in connection with this project. I do have Bob Lawson, who is the general manager at Blackmer, here to give you an update on the project that, as I said, is underway and the hiring has commenced. So with that, I will invite Bob up. And the amendment would facilitate the additional cost associated with the project. So if a project comes in 10% over the approval, it requires amendment. So that is a case here. And it would also add 1 year to the exemption in consideration of the 20-month delay to the project.
Okay, great. Hi, welcome, Bob. Good to see you.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, it's great to see you.
I appreciate being here. The project costs have gone up from about 7.5 to 11.2, 11.3. Not as much due to inflation as it is we expanded the scope. So we've done a lot more with the building than we planned initially. We have moved all the employees to one side, made the building safer to operate in, and added a lot of features to it. Some costs that have really escalated were IT-related costs. We had a placeholder in there for about $100,000. It's $1.5 million. So it's a little bit insane, but that's the nature of it. And we have some things we had to do for military compliance. About 15% of our business relates to the U.S. Navy and putting pumps on ships, which is great. So we're excited about that. We have started the hiring. We are up 32 jobs from where we baselined it on that 54 total that we're going for, and I think we'll may end up exceeding that, quite frankly. There's still talk of bringing other product lines in from other PSG companies. That's our parent. And the team at Blackmer is excited. It's kind of rare for Dover, who's our parent company, they're a $7 billion company, to actually expand brick and mortar. They like to consolidate. They like to use up space that exists. But they like Grand Rapids. They like the people. They like this place. And they're excited to have us on the team. And we're excited to be part of that. So that's all I really had to share.
Thank you.
Yep.
So, Bob, I had the opportunity to come out and tour and learn more about the company and the history of the company. For my colleagues around the table that aren't familiar with the history or the product, will you just share a little bit more?
Yeah, we've been around. We started out in Petoskey in 1903. The company founded a little bit before that. In 1925, there was a rift between the owner and the mayor, and he packed up and moved to Grand Rapids in 1925. We've been on the same site ever since, and now we're expanding. But we make pumps, primarily vane pumps. It's a technology used primarily in the propane industry. Any truck you see with delivering propane probably has a Blackmer pump on it. For the U.S. Navy, we do a lot of firefighting foam pumps, fuel pumps, oil distribution pumps. We service the oil and gas industry, the industrial base. Our pumps are used 60% in North America and then 40% between Latin America, Europe, Middle East, Africa, and Southeast Asia. And so we're expanding, we're growing. It's been a very, very good run at Blackmer. Challenge has been COVID, like for everybody. It's really challenged us with supply chain problems and everything else. We've kind of worked through it, and now we're getting on the backside of that. So,
Yeah, great. Thanks.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, let me see if my colleagues have any questions. Commissioners, any questions? All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks.
So if you're here today to be heard on this item, so again, this is an industrial facilities exemption certificate. You're welcome to come forward. All right, seeing none, I'll close that public hearing, and then that will be referred back to, I believe, our committee of the whole at our next meeting. So, thank you, Bob. All right, last, that will take us to our scheduled public comment period at the end of our meeting. So this is time for you to come forward and speak about anything else that you would like this body to hear about. And we'll, same thing, ask you to share we'll ask you to share your name, the city that you live in, and we'll be giving you up to 3 minutes to speak.
Hate to cut off Future. That's my favorite person to listen to. Future. Oh, that's crazy. I love Future. How you doing, everybody? My name is DeAndre Jones. I stay here in the city of Grand Rapids, Michigan. What do I want to... First of all, I want to say 3D homes. We need to print some 3D homes here. I would love to be one of the first cities. We would be the first city in the state of Michigan. All of the talk is about is Detroit and how innovative Detroit is, but D. Jones is here in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I'm an innovative leader, and I'm on the front of the business journal for esports. I'm on the front page, the cover. I never expected that, to be honest, but I can't wait to show the world and the universe what I can do. Like, I'm really excited, humbly. I'm just a kid who grew up on SSI and just wanted to change his community, and look at me now. I started from the Safe Pitch Task Force. I got to tell you guys, the youngest kid in my program was 12 years old, and he connected with me this year and told me if I would have never been in that program that you created, I would have never been on track to graduate. And now the youngest kid with my program 5 years ago was 12 years old, and now he's 17 and he's graduating high school. And it's because the city gave me an opportunity to help my community. And a lot of the other kids graduated too. But it just shows you if you get the kids while they're young and you give them an opportunity, what you can do. And anybody can do it if they believe in themselves. And I'm just really proud of myself because all I just wanted was an opportunity to create something for my community, and look what I did. It's crazy. But it's crazy, like, oh man. I'm lost for words, and I never lost for words, but it's just like, I'm just thankful that the city really gave me an opportunity to give back to my community because I really care about the youth. I care about the houseless population. I care about everybody, like even the people that always bash me on the internet and take my pictures. I care about those people too because they'll have kids, and just because we have our differences doesn't mean that I don't want their kids to have a good life too, or a great quality of life, or affordable housing, or equitable opportunities, or an equitable education. 3D homes. We need to print 3D homes. I'm on this so seriously. I've been putting it out there. I've been attending live events, and I can't wait to bring esports. I got the sheriff's department coming to my event. I got the approval of the sheriff's department. So when I say we're going to do some strong police and community relations and do some strong building and trying to build a sense of trust, like I'm a very strong individual. I work out every day. I can hang with you guys too, officers. I'm a strong guy too. But I look forward to strengthening our community and working together with the police department, with the sheriff's department, potentially with the state police to build a better community. We need better police and community relations. We need strong leaders. Strong black leader too. I'm excited to give back to the city, and thank you for the opportunity, y'all. I'll keep showing up like I always do.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. All right, others who wish to be heard?
My name is Joyce P. Gibson, and I'm running for governor in 2026. I'm not here to talk to you about Proposal 3 this afternoon, nor about former President Donald Trump. I'd like to talk to you about salvation, specifically your salvation. I know that it seems petty and beneath you because I'm important, but now is not the time to deny God. This might sound scary or inappropriate, but I'm trying to stress the importance of your soul. Get right now. It is interesting. If you're interested, I'm going to give you 4 steps. It's called going to Arby's in order to prepare to meet Christ. The first step is to admit you're a sinner. The second step is to repent to the Lord or say, I'm sorry. The third step is to believe Christ died on the cross for me and rose again, is now seated with the Father. And the fourth step is to invite. Lord, come into my heart. Thank you.
All right, others who wish to be heard?
Thank you, Joyce, for sharing that. Daniel Scott, longtime resident of the city here. Again, I want to speak up for the unborn that are being slaughtered at 320 East Fulton. Praise the Lord, the average is down because of women's minds being changed. Another process that takes place there, and it's spreading now throughout the state, is the murder pill, RU 486. Let me tell you what it does. First of all, the success rate of this murder pill is as low as 54%. It induces powerful contractions of the uterus and causes the dead baby to be expelled from the womb. Side effects: hemorrhaging. On the average 9 to 16 days, 1 in 12 women experience bleeding for over 30 days. Many will need a blood transfusion. Severe pain requiring strong painkillers. Incomplete murders. Rupture of the uterus, vaginal bleeding, abominable cramping, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, headache, muscle weakness, dizziness, flushing, chills, backache, difficulty in breathing, chest pain, palpitations, rise in temperature and fall in blood pressure. Because RU 486 is administered, the woman is involved in the whole process. She takes the tablets herself, fully aware of the effects that the drugs are having on her body as they happen. And of course, most often, she gives birth to the dead child at home. That's why 1 in 100 of these women end up dying. There's also an environmental concern. These dead babies and the leftovers of the pills are going into our water system. It's been documented that it's poisoning our water. So I'd appeal to you, because I know you're concerned about the environment, to be aware of this, and just another reason to stop this murderous procedure. So not only destroying babies, but now polluting our water system. It's often called a human pesticide, RU 486. And of course now our government is spreading it all over, especially out of Lansing, sending it to people's homes. And God have mercy on our state. God have mercy on our city. Please do something about this. Thank you.
All right, others who wish to be heard? Hi, welcome.
I'm Janet Zahn. I'm a First Ward resident and co-chair of the Grand Rapids Climate Coalition. I'm here today to speak about opportunities before the city to make use of federal funds from the IRA to do meaningful and impactful green projects. I hope that we will look for the biggest opportunity to make a difference in infrastructure so that we can meet the carbon reduction goals that we've set municipally and community-wide. Our city is booming. There's so much new development that is happening, and I celebrate that along with most people, I think. What I'd love to know is, are we making sure to, in the planning process, use sustainable building materials? Are we advocating and requiring where we can the greatest efficiency in electrifying buildings instead of committing another 15, 20 years to using fossil fuels? Are we supporting those who want to do this? And new construction, I guess, is our biggest opportunity to not miss an opportunity to go to the right way of reducing our carbon emissions. So at any rate, I know that we have a lot of support for doing the right thing. I hope that we are planning, and I hope that you are supporting and looking for the ways that we will take advantage of funding that is out there, because I know all of this costs a lot, and now is a moment in time for us to capitalize on federal money to add to our own resources. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. All right, others wish to be heard? Hi, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Rosalind Bliss. I'll stick to agenda. My basic concern is that, first and foremost, I have to say that.
I'm sorry, can you start with your name and the city you live in?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
My name is Curtis West.
Thank you.
I work for the Rockwell Republic downtown. And on top of that, I'm from Grand Rapids. I've been known the mayor for countless years. And I truly appreciate your service. And my second thing is I definitely give great honor to the chief, Eric Winsnor. He has been doing a significant job since we all know the tragic happening of Patrick Lilly. He has been doing his job, and I appreciate all of his officers for doing a great job, as well as you, Mayor, and well as the city manager, and well as Nathaniel Moody as well for helping participate in this thing. But my whole purpose is there any way that we can raise better programs for our youth? And during the times, because it is coming up to summertime, stuff get out of hand, kind of crazy. But is there any way we can have more programs for them, like summer camp or like more interaction with the police with them to teach them or help them like with homework? 'Cause we know they have parents and stuff like that, but I know a lot of the Grants Police services also can help, like through the Grants Police Youth Program, to have those youth programs team up with other youths to help guide them in like their studies and stuff like that. So that's my basic concerns, is any way that we can raise some type of funding for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Good to see you. All right, others wish to be heard?
Lucas, First Ward. I want to speak on some aspects of a few communications you received today. No Mo May. I'm not advocating that we let the yards around here start looking like an adult film from the 70s, but there's a lot of merit to being pro-B. It's an important and simple idea that you could take up in many respects, and I think you should give that a read and entertain that concept along a lot of the great things that we do to be green in GR. LED lighting concerns. You received a letter calling for the halt of the LED streetlight conversion. I want to point out that I was ahead of this issue about 2 months ago when I told some leaders to expect pushback. But I'm a supporter of this conversion. I think the safety improvements are well worth it. I do believe you need to revisit some of the lights that flood some of the homes across the street, but as for the letter received, it's sensationalist hot air. They cite information from an effort to sell a product as a source. Take it from a guy that peddles content for marketing purposes and ignore that. Your first clue was the phrase visible radiation, which is the definition of light. Lead in homes. You've received some more pro-greed lobbying today attacking the proposed amendment. But like many opponents, realtors do suggest some good compromises that others have also shared. It's not unreasonable to consider some scrutiny of lead in schools, pilot program options, attaching results to the property financial assistance for the few that actually need it. However, do not resort to the toxic habit of giving the rich and powerful an outsized seat at the table to neuter your laws. Out-of-town corporate investors don't need any more handouts and special protections. Locally, people like my landlord, who paid about $35,000 for our house when they bought it off the sheriff's department, have made a massive killing. They have plenty of profit margin and they can afford to make that happen within the parameters of most of what you've proposed. Even tight margins have grown very comfortably due to the obscene rent price gouging here and across the U.S. And we all know they haven't been dumping their surplus funds into remodels or improvements. We have eyes, we can see. The biggest thing I want to highlight, though, in closing, is the notion that Grand Rapids should not attempt to lead the nation in this effort. To that I say the hell we don't. Whenever possible, this city should seek to be a model and example to others, and I applaud you for any effort to do that. This is a great chance to send a message to the greedy while making a big step for public health, and if you do it right, you deserve to be celebrated for it. Stay strong. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, others wish to be heard?
Hello, Brandon Bilski, 2nd Ward. It's nice to see you all. I'm excited and happy to first thank Anita Hitchcock for coming out to the mock trial tournament this past weekend. We had a great time. We've got connections from all over, not just Michigan, but the entire nation of lawyers and judges and students who all come together to share and educate, and it was a beautiful sight to see. So thank you so much, Anita. And just having that city support can be really crucial to expanding our programs. This sort of education, having people get up and speak and being able to think critically and deeply is crucial to having a strong democracy. And as any educator, we need to be sounding the alarm. Not only are our educators not well funded, they're buying their own supplies, their rooms have way too many students. We know the drill, and we should be a strong voice for that, but also for civic education and participation, which segues perfectly into how many people can speak publicly here now, perhaps a more rigorous campaign of the change in time so that the second shift workers or folks who we're trying to target actually do show up here now that we've taken on that responsibility of a new time frame would be good. And also, I am happy to announce I just accepted a position as grant writer for Dégagé Ministries. So I'm also seeking, perhaps I can speak with someone afterwards, some more information and support. I was glad to see a lot of the agenda items, the $8 million, that's federal money that's going towards a lot of housing and emergency services. That's beautiful, beautiful stuff. And I'm excited to expand and deepen that and just be of service to you in that official capacity, but also to potentially join the committee, the development committee as well. So I know I'll need recommendations, so if someone would like to reach out afterwards, I'd be happy to talk with you. But on the whole, I'm very excited for Grand Rapids and really seeing how the housing services, just how interconnected they are and how we really do need to increasingly work together. So that's $8 million in the right direction, but on the whole, there's so much need, and so I just ask that we focalize in continuity those who really are struggling. I know we just had a great, beautiful remodeling, and we have an open house on March 23rd at 10:30 a.m. to 12 p.m., and it's such a beautiful space. We welcome you to come out and get a nice tour, and even with our expanded services, we've also seen an increase in a lot of elderly women coming into the shelter as well. People are being pushed out. Rents are increasing and times are tough out there. So please and thank you for keeping them in your hearts and minds.
Thank you. Thanks. All right, others who wish to be heard?
Mark from Grand Rapids. I see someone here is trying to run for governor of Michigan. I'm sorry, but I have to say it. You have no shot. You have no plan.
Mark, go ahead and address us. So maybe you can have a conversation afterwards with that person.
Well, anyway, I'm going to talk about the clean energy stuff. Again, it's going to come at a cost. No one around here can afford it. I understand the reducing of carbon emissions, but in order to do that, you have to have the money. And where are you going to have that money? And where's the money going to come from? And the speed, and when it comes to EVs, the speed of charging them. Not all of us are homeowners. You live in a high rise, how you gonna plug your EV in if there's no charging station? You gonna get a gazillion extension cords and hook it up to your vehicle 30 stories down? It's not good. Again, if you don't have quick rapid charging stations, which you can fully charge an EV in 2 minutes or less, what's the use of having them? Now, as far as people talking about police should have their own liability insurance, remember this. They can have it, but guess what? They still getting salaried. Who's paying the salary? The taxpayers. So basically, you still go pay for their insurance. That's just a fact. There's no getting away around it. So either way you slice it, it's coming out of taxpayers' pockets. That's all I have to say about that. Remove J. Edgar Hoover's name from the FBI building. Remove George Wallace's name from Mobile, Alabama. Justice for Patrick Leoya. Recall Ron DeSantis. And boycott Swanson. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, others wish to be heard?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Libby from the city of Grand Rapids. First, I just want to say, I think over the past few years, we've seen the problems when people are able to lie and spread misinformation in the public sphere. So I want to come up here and just say there are no babies being killed on Fulton. And the #1 killer of children in the United States is firearms. I just wanted to say that to kind of counteract other things that we may hear up here. The other thing I wanted to talk about today is when we call the city looking for assistance. I recently was trying to get some work or somebody to pay attention to some signage on a building by my home. And I came here, and it was understandable the person I spoke with didn't write it down, and I don't blame him for that. But I thought, he didn't write it down. I should probably just call it into 311. I called it into 311, and nothing ever came of it. So then when I was back here again, I spoke with another person from the executive offices, and then it was finally put into the city to be looked at. But I think that you guys are trying to really push customer service here in the city. And if we can't get responses from 311, I don't know what 311 does. I know that you've had a problem staffing it because, people pull out of that department to, fill up the other ranks. But, when you guys decided to use 311 and we couldn't call the departments specifically to get our assistance, we were getting more assistance that way. 311 is not doing a great job, and I just kind of wanted to state that we deserve a little bit better in customer service for the city of Grand Rapids. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for those comments. All right, anyone else who wishes to be heard? All right, I'll close that opportunity for public comment, and I'll turn to my colleagues, and I'll start down here with Commissioner Knight. All right, thanks, Commissioner.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to lift two events going on in the First Ward this week. First of all, we have the master plan kickoff that was rescheduled. It's tomorrow at Harrison Park from 5 to 7, so we'd love to have you come and take part in that. Second of all, on Thursday, we've got the Community to Honor Cesar Chavez has their events going on down on Cesar Chavez Boulevard, starting at the Hispanic Center at 11 a.m., and we would love to have you come out to that too. Thanks.
Great, thank you. Commissioner?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. First of all, I wanted to thank Mrs. Connie Bohach and her team for the neighborhood investment report that she gave today, which was the plan. I really appreciate it because it laid out a lot of things some things that I missed that I didn't understand, but it made more clarity today so that we can share with our neighborhood associations in our wards a little bit more in detail as to what they need to do, what's important. The other thing I want to say to the young man that left, but that the Grand Rapids Urban League does have some programs that they're planning on instituting for summer programs for youth, and some of the churches in the city as well. So I was going to ask him if he would reach out to those churches, but I'll try to find him and connect with him as well.
I think I have his contact information.
Yep. And I just want to say thank you for coming out. Thank you for what my ears have heard today. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner O'Connor? Commissioner Isasi?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Commissioner Moody. I was going to say the same thing, that we are actually having a gathering of past SAFE Task Force Pitch Night winners later this month on March 29th. And then also just trying to connect some of those different groups to different events that are happening. You mentioned, Commissioner Moody, the Urban League. There's also a number of individuals, like we made some investments in different programs and parks last summer, so I know that's continuing. So I wanted to highlight that. And then second, I just wanted to say, this is March. March is my favorite month because it's also my birthday, but but it really is my favorite month because it's Women's History Month. And I just wanted to say thank you to the many city staffers, women who are working. We have a lot of firsts in our city ranks, in our executive office, leading very large, important departments. And so thank you all. That might not be up here all the time, but I want to say it's particularly a proud moment. We didn't probably celebrate it as much. We have obviously 3 new commissioners, but to be sitting up here with four of us as women serving on this body. One of my mentors, Mary Alice Williams, sent me a picture of when she was on the commission in 1980, and she was the sole woman, and also you too, City Attorney Anita Hitchcock. So I just want to say thank a woman, this month, hopefully every single day, and appreciate there's a lot of events to celebrate, to recognize, and just to continue to understand, how do we have different narratives of these positive ones and support, but also recognize other narratives when we are trying to address issues like domestic violence that certainly women and their families experience too often in this city. And so just continuing to that conversation about those different narratives and also to celebrate all of you. So thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Commissioner Perdue?
Good afternoon, everyone. Just wanted to take this 1 minute to express my gratitude to city staff. You all put in a lot of work behind the scenes to keep the city running, to prepare to come present to us. Today's presentation from Ms. Bohatch around the final applications or final awards for some of that federal funding that was spoke to. I know it took a lot of time behind the scenes, a lot of process. So just want to publicly say that. And relatedly, last Friday, thanks to Mr. Hurt and his team for allowing me to ride a snowplow for 2 hours and really see up close and personal what our amazing city staff go through. So a 311 team have always been responsive as folks have reached out to me needing help navigating the city. So I just want to say, particularly as one of the newer commissioners, every time that I've turned to city staff for help to get support to residents, that you all have been majorly responsive. And I really appreciate that. We couldn't do this without your support, and our city wouldn't run the way it would without all the work that you do behind the scenes. So that's what's on my mind and my heart today. So thank you all.
Yeah, thanks, Commissioner. Appreciate that. City Clerk?
Yeah, as the country western singer sings, we're going on the road again. So our next meeting, 2 weeks from now, we're going on the road. Yeah, we're going on the road. We're going to, we'll be in the 2nd Ward on the 28th at GRPS University at 1400 Fuller Northeast. Doors open at 5, and then 5:30 we'll have a time of discussion again, roundtable discussions, and 7 o'clock we'll have the business meeting. So.
And there will be refreshments.
There will be refreshments as well.
Yeah, thank you. That was on my list to highlight. Oh, okay. City Attorney? Okay, City Manager?
Thank you, Mayor. And Joel, you have to give credit to Willie Nelson on the road.
Joel's ponytails aren't as good as Willie's.
On the road again. I've been everywhere, man. All right. So I do too want to thank the city staff for all their work in preparation for this meeting in response to the severe weather events and what you do day in, day out. And to the concern earlier about 311, Lou Canfield, raise your hand. Lou, if you can follow up with him afterwards and see if we can figure out what else we can do to continue to improve services. But I do appreciate all those employees who are working in 311 as well. Just a couple other, we mentioned the community night out meeting upcoming on the 28th, and we will attempt to have engagement with residents prior to the meeting. It'll be tabletop discussions. It will begin, doors are open at 5 o'clock, and the meeting will begin at 5:30. It'll be in the 2nd Ward at GRPS University on Fuller Avenue, and we'll have some follow-up from some of the previous community night out discussions that we've had, but also talk more about how to be a more inclusive community. I also want to highlight a couple other engagement efforts this month that will be on public safety and health. following up on some of the dialogue that's been happening at the Public Safety Committee. And the first will be on Monday, March 20th at the Goey Center. And that will begin at 6 o'clock, end at 8 o'clock. And the second will be on the 22nd at the Public Library from 10 a.m. to noon. And we'll be continuing to talk about ways to improve health and safety in our community. Also want to thank the commission for the work today on the agenda. I heard the discussion earlier about investment in youth, and there were 2 items on the agenda that did exactly that, and the continuation of our Grow 1000 program with the acceptance of a almost $100,000 grant that would allow us to continue to employ youth and college students this summer, along with our partnership with the Grand Rapids Community Foundation and GRPS and celebrating these Community Scholars event. I believe that's going to be held at Union High School. Those 2 items were approved today. My continued thanks to Ms. Bo Hodge again for the overview of the recommendations regarding the almost $9 million for homelessness, housing, as well as safety in our community. And I also had the opportunity to attend the Grand Rapids Police Department Officer Annual Banquet, where I heard some really, really amazing stories of how officers were really unselfishly serving this community and saving lives and really helping each other. And I would like to talk to the police chief. We really need to share those stories more publicly, as it was a primary departmental event. But I think this community needs to know some of the great work that is happening day in, day out in our police department. So I appreciate the opportunity to be part of that event. And finally, for Women's History Month, I do have the pleasure of serving with some very tremendous leaders in this organization, both staff and elected, as our first, in my executive office, our first female deputy city manager, Kate Behrens, and our first African-American female city attorney, Anita Hitchcock, along with a lot of first trailblazers on the dais, with the first female mayor and the first Latina commissioner. But I also am very grateful for my grandmother, who was Alvina Brown, who did not speak English, could barely write her name, and had 10 children, and all 10 graduated high school. That was not the college generation. My generation was the college generation, but I'm so appreciative of the lessons that I learned from her, the strength that she offered, the wisdom that she provided, and the resiliency that she showed in very, very difficult times. She continues to be my hero.
Thank you, City Manager. Feel compelled to raise up my mom, who also had 10 kids in 10 years. Some say she's a hero, some say she's crazy. But it's a matter of perspective, I suppose. She is pretty remarkable. So anyway, I will just add by saying a couple things. I'll add my thanks to the entire city staff. There's a lot going on in our city, and a lot of work happens behind the scenes that nobody sees. And I just want to add my thanks to them. Commissioner Purdue, I'm glad you got out there on a snowplow. That's always fun, but it's a great way to see the hard work of our employees. I see James Hurt in the back. Appreciate you and your entire team, especially on these unpredictable weather events that we've been having. So appreciate all the hard work, making sure those streets are cleared. And then just to highlight again, we do have a number of opportunities for public engagement. I think all of us have said that multiple times, that there's ample ways to connect and engage in issues related to our city. As the city manager and some others have said, tomorrow night for the master plan, we have 2 engagement next week around public health and safety. The week after that is our commission night out. And that's just work that we're doing here at the city. There's also a lot of our partner organizations doing community engagement. One of them I just want to highlight is at the Rapid. So the Rapid, if you don't know this, commissioners, I'll make sure that you get an update. We are in the process of updating our transit master plan. We are working really closely with an incredible team of consultants that have national expertise, and they will continue to do public engagement, both making that available online through surveys. We'll be sending out surveys and then holding meetings throughout the community at different times of the day and on weekends to get community input as we look at our transit master plan. This is an extremely important process as we think about the future of public transit in our community. The county is also doing analysis, a mobility task force looking at mobility needs throughout the county. I'm serving on that task force, recognizing the importance of public transit with so many of the other critical issues that we're working to improve, specifically around affordable housing. So there's lots of ways to get engaged and to stay involved, particularly in areas that you care deeply about. So with that, I will end by saying thanks to Brandon. Thanks for elevating our city attorney. Appreciate her being a part of the mock trial. We were talking about that yesterday. It's an incredible event, commissioners, if you're not familiar with it. It's really incredible. And we were talking yesterday about how inspiring it is, but also our desire to have more teams from Grand Rapids. So that's something for all of us to work on to make sure that we have some great representation and more engagement with youth in our community. So thank you for doing that. Our city attorney, as does all of our appointed officials, they are out there active in our community around lots of tables, but also giving back in many ways. So thank you. And with that, we'll adjourn.